I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Welcome to this week's episode of Dispatches from Shedquarters. I'm your host, Mike Lutz. This is getting out of the way early. And cheers, everybody. So, I hope everybody had a good week. And like I said, last week I was on vacation. And I kicked off my vacation doing nothing, really. It turned into more of a staycation than anything. Through the start of the week, Wednesday was a Whiskey Wednesday movie night. I really don't have a whole lot of permission to talk too much about this. It was just a thing that started between me and a buddy who found a weird movie online, and it is now evolved into something that I look forward to each and every week. Well, other than the weeks when my shift work keeps me away from the group. Basically, it's a bunch of guys. We get together on a Wednesday. We drink whiskey. We barbecue food. We drink some more whiskey. We smoke cigars, and we watch a movie on my buddy's back deck movie theater lounge that he's got made up. And it's one of the highlights of my week each and every time I go to these things. I really enjoy the company of everybody that's involved with this. It started out really small, and then it got too big and unwieldy. Then it got canceled, and then it slowly came back to a small, manageable number. And this is the size of group that I think for what we do is the perfect size. And this, I just can't say enough of the camaraderie and the friendship and the conversation that we have. And so we all watch, like we get together and we have a good idea of what we're going to watch. And sometimes we get some real stinkers. And there's been a couple bans handed out where guys are not allowed to bring movies after they've suggested some terrible movies. So it takes a little while to get back into the good graces of being able to bring a movie to the group. So it's like, it's fun. It's all in fun. Is that we don't take each other too seriously. And like I said, when you get banned for bringing a crappy movie in, it's just almost, it's a badge of honor, because we've almost all have had this thing. We've banned each and every one of ourselves. So some guys still haven't recovered from bringing bad movies in. I brought one in. I thought it was going to be okay, and it kind of fell within the cheesy horror kind of thing, and I figured it would work. It would play well. I was wrong, and I think I got banned for bringing stuff for a couple months. And like I said, I believe I redeemed myself by bringing like Conan the Barbarian or something like that. So you have to work at getting your privileges back, and we just have a great time. I highly suggest finding a group of like-minded people, hang out, watch movies, barbecue meat, drink whiskey, smoke cigars, just relax. And I said, one of the big things that we like to do, or we don't like, one of the things that is a requirement is a surrendering of your cell phone at the beginning of the night. It is the idea, it is to promote conversation and talking and getting to know each and every one of us. They said, you walk in and you put your cell phone in a basket, and you do not touch your cell phone until you're ready to go home. And we've never had a problem, and it's one of the best rules that we've instigated or instituted. And I really dig it. I said I've gotten to the point where when we do our Whiskey Wednesday movie nights, I just leave my phone at home. There's no reason for me to bring it, and because the majority of the people that would text me are I'm going to be with, so I just leave it at home from then on. Thursday, me and Mags hopped in the car and we drove to Niagara Falls. We haven't been to Niagara Falls, in a very long time. I think almost pushing 10 years, especially like we took the kids to Great Wolf Falls, Great Wolf Lodge. And that was a very long time ago. And me and Mags went, and the whole idea was just to act like tourists. And we did. We started off, we said we we had breakfast at a Denny's, and our waitress, she was the best. She messed up my order, and she completely forgot everybody else's orders until my order was sorted out, which really wasn't in the long run, but I got 2 extra eggs out of it, so it worked out okay. We said after breakfast, we hopped on the fine 401 to 403 to QEW and just battled traffic nonstop from it. The people on the roads, I don't know if they just lose all common sense or they just don't care. It was just a fight every step of the way, but we finally got to our destination, and our first destination was the Butterfly Conservatory at the Niagara Falls Botanical Gardens. It was wall-to-wall people, and it was fun, and I got some really good pictures of some of the butterflies there. Just a good way to kick off the week, or not the week, but the couple days that we were going to be in Niagara Falls. I think we spent a little time there waiting for our ability to go get our room. Not sure when we were gonna check in or when that room was gonna be available, but we got there. We spent an hour perusing and taking pictures of the butterflies, and then we again everything is exiting through the gift shop, marveling at how overpriced everything is. Like just looking at a random t-shirt, it was almost $50 for just a random t-shirt, and we're just like, this is nuts, but this is what we expected because it is Niagara Falls, and that's just the way things are done there. So we get our room, and we sit in the room for a little bit, try to cool off, trying to decide what we want to do next. I was suggested by my daughter Taryn to go to Bird Kingdom. It's just a giant aviary, and it was a wonderful suggestion. We got there maybe 2 hours before the close, so like we were kind of rushing through, but taking our time at the same time. Just looking at all the different birds, and you follow a path, and it kind of takes you on a tour of like different animals. They have like a small zoo inside, and they have a small bird section where, like I said, a lot of the birds are pretty desensitized to humans now. So we hung around with the little birds for a little bit. Then we wandered into the large three-story open aviary atrium, and it was impressive architecture, to say the least. It's set up to look like a rock path that winds its way through the aviary. There's a waterfall, and it's just a really nice atmosphere. You just wandering through, looking at some of the birds. There was we could get close to a couple of the birds. They didn't care that we were there. They're just like, oh yeah, more humans, more tourists. We just wandered around and we had a good time. We ended up feeding lorikeets. I think they were called lorikeets. So basically, we were told, we were given a little stainless steel shot glass kind of thing, and one of the employees poured a liquid into it, and she said, okay, just hold it and stand still. If they're hungry, they'll come to you. And Mags turned out to be the Disney princess because she had 3 birds on her, and mine was just, he would drink a little bit and then start talking, and then drink a little bit and start talking, which is a really good idea. So the tour of just walking through the aviary was really relaxing. There were spots where I just wanted to sit and watch some of the birds flying around and just take in the atmosphere. Mags wasn't too keen on the idea of being anywhere underneath a bird for fear of getting pooped on, and it was funny watching her, because we would walk a little bit and she would stop and she would look up and try and take stock of where all these birds were. She wasn't in the splash zone, so to speak. So it was a fun time there. Again, exit through the gift shop, and some of the stuff there was interesting looking. They had some hand carved wood boxes and stuff like that, but again, just insanely overpriced, and we just no, this is not what we want. So we get out of the bird kingdom, and we're trying to decide what we want to do. I want to go for a walk down by the gorge, head towards the falls. So we start walking, and I look up so we walk along the gorge, and we're looking at the American side of the falls and checking out the Maid of the Mist, the boat. I think the Hornblower tour is now the Canadian side. The one thing that I noticed that wasn't there the last time we were there is a tall tower. And I'm looking at the tower, and I'm going, what's going on there? And then I see 4 people zip-lining down the gorge of Niagara Falls, the Niagara Gorge. And I was like, no thanks. This is not something that I'd be interested in doing. And Mags is looking at me. She goes, well, go on. Do it, you big chicken. I'm going, okay, come with me. She goes, no, I don't want to. So basically, we're just looking at the youngins doing the zip lining right along the side of the Niagara Gorge. We're just both shaking our heads. Well, this is not something I want to try. We got about halfway to the Canadian Falls, and we decided we were both getting a little tired and hungry, and so we turn around, we start making our way back up Clifton Hill to get to our hotel. I'm walking along, and I'm just like, I gotta do something, and we're here, we gotta do some things. So we pop into the Movieland Wax Museum. It's just tourist trap awesomeness. It's the exact same from the last time I went, which was 10 years ago. It is exactly the same. And I know it kind of seems like a waste of money, but sometimes you just got to go do these things and have fun and just shut your mind off and just have a good time. And we did. And so we were just wandering through the Wax Museum and just thoroughly enjoying ourselves. So we finished that. We grabbed a cold drink for the walk back to the hotel. We were trying to decide what we wanted to eat. Excuse me. And then we spied a Papa John's Pizza. And it said, we don't have one of those in town. And Mags and I both liked that pizza from when there was Papa John in town. So we went and grabbed a pizza and headed back to the hotel room just to cool off and eat. The plan was go back to the hotel room, eat, cool off, and then when the sun went down, we were going to go back to the falls and watch the fireworks display. And it was a great night for this. So walking along the promenade towards the Canadian side of the falls, the Canadian Falls, the Horseshoe Falls, we found a good spot and we stopped. And 10 o'clock, the fireworks started, and we were right perfectly in line to watch the show. And it was just a nice fireworks display. Everybody was having a good time, and we after the show we walked on a little bit farther. We got to the very brink of the Horseshoe Falls, and we just stood there and listened for a while. Said I shot some video for Facebook, and I said it's just sitting there thinking, like, what would it be like to be like the first person to hear all that noise and then find the Horseshoe Falls for the first time and witness that. And it was just it's one of those, if I could go back in time and see this for the first time, that would be an experience that I would really, really treasure. And I said it was a good time, and we had a fun time. Walked back up Clifton Hills afterwards. We really didn't do a whole lot afterwards because it was the place was wall to wall people, like, which is par for the course in Niagara Falls in the summertime. But like I said, we tried to play the odds, and we went on a Thursday to a Friday. But he said it was just so many people. It's just, I don't know, a little overwhelming crowd wise. But he said we were having a good time. Go back to the hotel, crash for the night, wake up pretty early, and so we check out. We're going, okay, let's go get some breakfast. So we ended up going to the place called the UFO Cafe, and this is it's a restaurant shaped like two UFOs stuck together, and just atmospheric and kitschy, and it was everything that you would hope for in a place like Niagara Falls. That there is a building like the UFO Inn or UFO restaurant, and we go in and the food is fantastic, and the interior is like, it looks like a spaceship. There's alien things all over the place. It was perfectly fine. It was fun. The coffee. Oh, they said coffee. I asked for a coffee. I got a carafe, and they said four cups of coffee later, we're ready to take off. And the idea was to go back to an IKEA in Burlington, Ontario. And that place, IKEA, is such a dangerous place because you get in there, you can spend so much money. The idea is walking into that place just flowing. Like, you look at some of the displays that they have set up, and they're going, yeah, I want to do this, I want to get that, I want to buy that, I want to buy that. It's a laundry list of things that you want to get for your house to dress it up and make it look good. And that IKEA is just a dangerous store altogether. We ended up getting a couple things for the house in IKEA, but we really watched ourselves because it could get really crazy in there. We got some really good ideas, so we're gonna save up some cash and make some of those purchases later. So we left IKEA probably 2 hours after we got there. Drove to London, stopped off for lunch at Red Lobster. Just don't make it to Red Lobster enough, but I just get there and just gorging myself, and it's a feast of gluttony. But I love going there, and just I could spend a lot of time eating that food. I love seafood. We just don't get around to get out and eat like that very often. So when we do get that opportunity, we really make up for lost time. Come back home, and it was just, I was exhausted, and we been driving all day and shopping and eating, and it was just I got home and said I need a nap, and just crashed for a couple hours. Woke up. We went to visit my dad, see how he was doing. He said he was doing good. Just a quick pop in, talk to him, and then said it was right back home, go to bed, because the next day, Saturday, is a rugby day. We went to, the Havoc were playing in Windsor. They were playing the Windsor Rogue Rugby Football Club. And Parker took off before us. He was camping with some friends, and he decided to leave right from where he was camping to go to Windsor to play rugby. So Mags and I just kind of took our time getting there. And we got there, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes into the first half. As we walk up, Parker is sitting in the medical tent on the sidelines. Come to find out, he was making a run towards the try line, and a dude decided to put his shoulder right into his knee. And that put an end to Parker's game right there. His knee is really messed up, and it's gonna be trips to physio and to get that all sorted out. But the blessing and the curse of that was the last game of the season, and for whatever reason, once the second half started, Chatham just kind of fell apart. The Havoc just fell apart. They were tied going into the second half, and then Windsor got into their heads, and that pretty much undid everything. There was a couple fights. At the end, they said there was a big brawl, and the ref threw off 3 of the Havoc guys, and then the captain just told the ref to call the game, and it was just a brutal end to the season. It just trying to figure out why they fell apart like that. I think Windsor just got into their heads and just didn't stop, and they just wouldn't let Chatham get back on track. It was disappointing to watch happen, because everybody everybody started to get down. And I said, being the last game of the season, you would kind of expect them to be a little more level-headed, but it just didn't work out that way. So that was a tough loss. We got to wait until the next year to see where things land. I hope we can, like, this year there was a lot of young guys. It was a rookie club and rookie heavy club, and they just got beat. And next year should be a different story. A lot of the guys are going to be able to start working better together, and maybe they can pull it together and have a much better season. So we'll see about that. They said I got back to work Monday, and it's always difficult to switch gears from vacation to getting back to work. Just nonsense. It's just one of those things. I hated it. It's just, but I said yesterday night, as I'm recording this on Thursday, I said we had another Whiskey Wednesday movie night, and we just, again, like I said, I keep going back to it because it's one of the things I look forward to most each week. And I said we watched the classic movie Animal House, and I've seen this movie dozens of times, and it never fails to make me laugh, and I have a good time watching this all the time, that movie all the time. Yeah, it was a really good night. It was like, I don't know how I can't put it over how much I enjoy those nights. It's just one of those things where you get together with the right group and you have a great night. Yeah, I'm kind of running out of steam and ideas here, so this is probably going to be a short one. Oh, I've been putting this podcast out to different podcast carriers, trying to expand the ways that people can get this show. I know it's available on Google Play. It's available on YouTube. You just have to search for Dispatches from Shedquarters or the Mike Lutz Show, and it'll show up. I just found out that the show is available on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. I'm trying to get it onto Spotify. So any of the places where you normally get your podcasts, I'm working on getting this show on those platforms. I'm also on Facebook. This is probably where a lot of people are finding links for the show. There's a Facebook group and page called Dispatches from Shedquarters. Like I said, if you want to email me feedback, criticism, or anything, you email me at mike.lutz52@gmail.com. And let's have a conversation. And I think that's it for this week. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everybody that's taking the time to listen to this show. Oh, another place where you can find this show is the Jazel Modcast Podcast Network. I will put a link in the show notes, and then like I said, you can find it there. David K. Montoya runs a wonderful podcast network and an online magazine called The World of Myth. So you check out. I submitted a story this month, and it did really well. But yeah, go check that out. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, any place where you can get your podcasts. I should be there very soon. So Again, thank you very much. This has been Mike Lutz, and you're listening to Dispatches from Shedquarters.
She called me Brad.
She called you Brad?
Call me Brad.